Hello YouTube, it is Damien, it is Sunderland, it is Bright Lights, it is episode 95 of Bright Lights. We're moving ever closer to episode 100 and we're here with you today with a very special episode. We're here with the end of season episode, but it's an end of season episode mixing with some tributes to a couple of players that deserve to be mentioned in this episode. We're also going to take a look at a couple others. For episode 96, I'm also going to do probably a special episode. It's more the fact what we... what I can do to go back over this season. But I feel like Nicholas Adrien deserves to have his own little episode because he was sensational this season. I'm also very interested to see how many free kick goals he scored throughout the whole Premier League, because I reckon there was a stage where he won a few games just from him scoring free kicks, and it would be interesting to see how many he did score this season. Anyhow, we go to our inbox. We are going to do quickly the end of season breakdown. We did get one of the two big ones done. We won the Premier League this season on the final day against Liverpool. If you haven't watched episode 94, I would recommend you just go watch everything from episode 91 onwards. Anything from that West Ham game onwards is quite quality viewing. That West Ham game was crazy. It was probably our game of the year, the 4-4 draw, where both teams finished with 10 men. In terms of what the fans thought, they thought Moreno was our best signing. Look, to be honest, he was solid. He wasn't spectacular, but he was solid. At a 7.02 in the Champions League, you got a 7.2, which is not bad as well. He was better than what Will Burgess would have produced, so I guess it wasn't too bad. Adrian, by hands down, one player of the season. Look, if Godin played a lot more games, Godin's quite good with the fans. That could have been different, but it doesn't look like we've got him playing limited game time. Adrian's always going to win that one fairly easily. The 4-2-3-1 team that they've picked there is probably our strongest 11 as well. The only thing I would do differently is swap Daniel and Ives around, so left foot on the left, and Daniel was both-footed, but mainly right-footed. But that's really it. In terms of goal of the season, it wasn't even that great of a goal. I thought we had better goals. I thought any one of Adrian's free kicks was better than this one. I think Football Manager just likes when a player runs from deep. As you can see, Avriel's touch is great, and it's against Harrogate, which we won like 6 or 7-1 in the FA Cup. And in the end, it's a 1-on-1, which he varies. I understand he just run half a pitch, but with no one around him, the South African, who's obviously had a very good year. He wins goal of the year. There you go. Adrian won Young Player of the Season. He also won Players Player of the Season. Also won Premier League Players of the Season. Also won the Golden Boot of the Season. If we can go down, we won Player Manager, Young Player. Adrian won Top Goal Scorer. Adrian was Players Player and Footballer of the Year. He won them all, and you can see why. Adrian is a bit of a freak, and we are definitely going to go and give him his own YouTube episode after this. The main reason why I've obviously called this is we go into the records of the club. A few of our boys are starting to get there. Our highest league position was obviously we got first in the Premier League this season, but also it was happening in 1981 and 1992. That will eventually click over to 2026-27. Most goals in a Premier League season, though, by a player is Adrian, is 37. He scored 37 in 39 games. They did play all year. He scored 29 33 Premier League games, and then the rest coming in competitions. Unfortunately, no one's come close to Jim Montgomery's 537. And unfortunately, the player that I am going to highlight, which is Smithies, eventually when we get to there, Jon McLaughlin still has the most clean sheets back in that 2018-19 season, where he didn't concede too many, was Jon. He was quite a good keeper for us back in the League One, and there's a distant memory now of where we have come from, but it's got to be important to remember players like Jon for the journey that we've had. The youngest ever goal scorer is not Bob either. Someone else was younger when Bob, before Bob scored his, obviously, but he's the youngest ever goal scorer in the Champions League. In terms of our biggest win, our biggest defeat will obviously happened in our time. The highest scoring match was a 4-6 six-round loss to Liverpool, which was marred by a wrong red card. The highest league scoring game we haven't broken yet, but I reckon if give us enough time, I reckon we can definitely score more than 11 goals in a game, either home or away side scoring them. Doesn't matter. Our fastest ever goal was Haller, obviously, in 2025. But, there's a lot of stuff here that you would see, okay, there's a lot of players from our era starting to come onto the, onto the awards and the history. And I know a lot of people are interested in this as well. But I'm here to talk about a man that needs no introduction, a man that is in my top 3 favourite players of the save. I think my top 3 players probably goes Godin, Nakamura, very close, and then Smithies is a very, very close third. And look, if Smithies didn't drop off the boil, and if Smithies didn't go and get down to free pace or whatever, I would have played him a lot more. He's still a great goalkeeper. He one-on-ones, he's kicking, he's rushing out. Some of the saves he made was unbelievable. If you go to his staff attributes, he's going to be under 18s goalkeeper here at the moment. We have actually got room to have 2 goalkeepers in the under 18s, so he'll be helping out in the under 18s. Something for the youngsters to live up to. He is a little bit of a club legend. I don't know if he actually made it to the general legend screen. Doesn't look like he has. And it doesn't even look like he's on the icon screen, which is a big of a shame because I know at one stage he was definitely in and around here or favourite personnel. It looks like he's dropped off. No Smithies. That's not how it's meant to end. But we obviously love Mr. Smithies if we go back to him. And just some of the things that he produced over the years is beyond us, right? You know, some of the saves he pulled off in the championship in the year we got promoted was out of this world. You know, some of the double saves, some of the penalty saves. He obviously made penalty saves in the Europa League final, which I encourage everybody to go back and watch. Was obviously not the biggest or greatest game of football, and then 2 goals after the 85th minute, so a 1-1 draw before Smithies produced the goods. I actually, if I was Smithies, I would have retired then and then because the league game wasn't going to come. You know, and he played a few league games this season while Joe Smith found his feet, but obviously it's the right time for Smithies to retire. If there's ever a moment to impitulate Smithies, this is the moment, and this is obviously off the YouTube channel, off the Twitch channel, been clipped by one of our followers in Robbie. Look, if you are watching this on YouTube, please go and follow the link description below to come follow us on Twitch. But here we go. This was a double save that Smithies bought. You know, Smithies made against Derby, and it was one of the reasons why we loved him so much because he pulled stuff like this out of his locker week in, week out. Is it going to be for Buff? Godin gets up, flicks it there, Domfora, Huddleston, Bennett. There we go. Still with Bennett. How was cricket? Don't want to know. Don't speak about cricket with me today. It was pretty poor. What a save, Smithies! What a double save! Clip that. Gotta love some Smithies. Smithies! He has not conceded in 3 games. He doesn't deserve to concede in 4. What did we just witness? It was an unbelievable double save. The reason why it was so good is, if we exit that and go back to it, it was mainly that the first save was stupendous anyway. At 6 yards, his body weight is shuffling, and he gets down low to his left. It was the second save, though, because he's on the floor, and I think it was Bennett who whipped the ball in. I can't remember who the striker was from Derby, but they hit it. And Smithies is still on the floor. And all you see in the slow-mo is as the shot comes up, as Smithy comes up and goes into this massive starfish, like a Peter Schmeichel-esque. And it hits him right on the arm. And it's just like, some of the stuff he did, you know. I think he was the only keeper in our history to go on lengthy runs without conceding goals in games. And unfortunately, when we did concede over in the championship, we conceded many. So his stats are always skewed. But some of the saves that Smithies used to make, you know, to get a 7.01 in the Premier League, not even being a Premier League rated keeper, another 7.01 in your second season, a 6.9, even a 6.9 here. Those are, in years gone past, are probably like 7.5s, 8.0s for goalkeepers. Goalkeeper ratings in the last couple of FMs have been quite poor. But hopefully they will be okay. Anyway, look, you know, I hope they fix him. Smithies deserves the tip of the hat. And, you know, he deserves his moment in the sun. And he deserves everything that he got in football. He's won a Premier League for us. He has won, let's see if we can go to landmarks or milestones. There we are. He was a European Super Cup winner. Obviously, he was a Premier League winner this season as well. I want to go by landmarks. He won the Europa League. Obviously, he played in the final and won it. Won the FA Cup, played in the FA Cup final as well. And obviously, winners of the Championship too. Look, apart from when he came from Cardiff, there was not much that he has done in football. But he came to Sunderland. He gave it his all. And he gave us so many memories. And it's good to see Smithies move on now into a coaching role. The next person retiring here is N'Golo Kante. We love Kante. Kante came to us at the end of his career in the twilight at 9.75. And he never put a foot wrong. You know, it was good to bring him off the bench. Obviously, this season he aged a little bit. And he doesn't look the best. In terms of getting him on the staff, I wouldn't mind it. I just don't think he's really good as a director of football. And I don't think he's that good as a coach. But we'll see what we can do. We might send him on a coaching course. It'll be interesting to see if we are in part of his favourite personnel. We're not. It would have been nice to get in there just before he retires. I would honestly use him still for another season if he decided to go around again, because with 8 pace, 9 acceleration, he's still not slow, and he's obviously always in the right position at 15, and he's got great tackling, and the work rate makes up for the lack of pace. I still feel like he could cover the world in N'Golo Kante. Just have a player like N'Golo Kante, a player that has had, you know, better reputation than started to decline now because of his age. It is out of this world, you know, one of the best centre mids the Premier League has ever seen. To have him here at Sunderland has been great. In terms of the squad itself, and maybe to think about next season, there might be a case to maybe not have Joe Smith in goals. In saying that, though, the guy has been growing into this Premier League goalkeeper now. He's obviously got the, the Gordon Banks potential, if the media's to be believed. And to be honest, he's a wonder kid, and there might not be a better goalkeeper on the market with this potential, unless we can find a world-class goalkeeper, I think Joe Smith's going to come around again with us to try and win that Champions League. In terms of the rest of the squad, I actually don't see a need to go and make signings. I feel like our bench is good. I feel like our rotations are good. I even feel like with Kante retiring that we've got enough here and Durant Miguel to come in, for instance, and, Godin goes back to the bench instead of having Kante on the bench for him. Kim Jan there comes in for Smithies. We do have a backup goalkeeper in Asana Ballo, who I think can do a decent job. We also have Flavio out on loan, who's obviously not the worst goalkeeper to have as a backup goalkeeper either. So I feel like we're in a very good spot in terms of the squad. I feel like there is $154 million to spend, and I don't know what to spend it on. It's probably a goalkeeper, and that's it. In terms of people still out on loan, for instance, if we go to our transfer history, there's one real player to really talk about on loan, and where is his name? Where are you, Rojas, where are you? Not there? Should be there. Unless it was a loan extension, so unless it's going to make me go and type in Jorge Rojas. He was obviously really good, but clicked on the wrong one. This always happens when we we're on a YouTube episode. Obviously, Rojas is going to come back, and he is nearly as good, if not just as good, as Nicolas Adrien. I feel if you're Alvary, your spot is up for grabs, my boy, because this guy's gone in the Spanish leagues and kicked it off. There might be a case to eventually play with two strikers just because they facilitate this guy. But Rojas is out of this world. In terms of his contract, it doesn't end till 2029. I'm actually going to get him on a better contract now. And I'm going to see what he wants. Anyhow, interested in being that as a rotation player maybe. See if we can get him on a contract here. 77. Look, I'm just going to finalise that without getting too angry. And there we go. Anyhow, that's going to be the end of the YouTube episode. It's a special one that highlights, Kante highlights Smithies, a double save for Smithies. Hopefully next episode, it's all about Nicolas Adrien and the goals he scored here in his record-breaking season. And that's something that I will look into and something that I will hopefully look to get all the goals, especially with the free kick goals. And we can look forward into next season and see what next season beholds. Anyhow, from Damien from Southern from Bright Lights, a jubilant Damien, even though a day after our stream, I'm still very excited that we just won the Premier League. And hopefully next season is the season where we go and win the Champions League. And it'll be our last season in charge of Sunderland. Anyhow, from Damien from Southern from Bright Lights, I'll see you next time. Put a like on the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And always, follow the link in the description below to our Twitch as well. Thank you.